Shalom, salam alaikum, kif halik, keifakum shonik, merhaba, konnichiwa, ni hao, namaste, privyet, bonjour, buongiorno, saludos, hola, dar, kashbrev, yak shamash. Hey guys, what's up? A-Team, your favorite analyst, fund manager, founder of Orca Oshi Capital, shout out to my partner Ronnie, and electronic dance music DJ. Diesel fuel is about $5.27, give or take, and the 30-year fixed rate mortgage is, as of right now, viewing 5.27. Yikes. The Fed did hike rates as I projected 0.5. I'm going to project they hike them again in June, 0.5. Inflation is probably around 20%. Because let's be super duper honest, transitory was never transitory. And if the labor market and all of these magical mathematical numbers were coming in so strong, then why don't they hike the rates a little bit higher? No? We have 1.1 million homes in forbearance, so non depende fees and decentes pre-provisions. And we have foreclosures up 181%. There are lockdowns from modern day Mao and affecting more of China outside of Beijing and Shanghai, with certain productivities hitting levels that have not been seen since April 2020. Yikes. But let's talk about our trade deficit in the United States. It's a mere $1 trillion. I've been telling everyone recession, depression, prep, whatever nuanced term you want to use to make yourself sleep better at night. Credit card debt, consumer debt is at an all-time high. And as I've said it before, I will say it again. For 2 years, I have speculated and hypothetically, allegedly made statements publicly saying the Federal Reserve would strategically drive up, personal choice would aid in driving up consumer spending, debt, and then they would then have the ability to hike those MFing rates up like an Elon Musk rocket. I got tongue-tied for a minute. Super duper fun to watch as a contrarian. However, needless to say, personal responsibility is something that Americans just taken for granted. We have 43 million on food stamps, and we have gone from a culture, and that is partially, I'm part of that entitlement culture that has to always step back and detach from materialism. Because if ever a time that materialism would be a killer, it would be as of right now. If I could offer anybody just friend to friend dialogue, it would be pay down the damn debt. Speaking of debt, let's talk about Evergrand. As you all know, I have ADHD and I never seem to take my medication when filming these videos. So Evergrand's founder CEO made an interesting WeChat message saying he's got to be able to pay the debts down. And they've pushed some projects back through May, which I found super interesting because I didn't realize that Evergrand was still operating. For those that don't know, Evergrand is the second largest property developer in the world. They're in China. They defaulted along with a lot of China's real estate and commercial real estate market, Fantasia, Cynic, China Developed Property, etc. Howard Marks made a hell of a deal when he swept up two distressed Evergrande properties, I want to say in February. But they defaulted in December. And the reason I've tunnel visioned into Chinese real estate is because I always wonder, what would that look like affecting a potential American's portfolio? To the best of my understanding, BlackRock and UBS have business dealings and also were affected with Russia bond holdings. Irony, if you will. And so I always wonder, what will that look like for an average American? Or let's say an NBA player who, as we all know, the NBA has some love affair with China. So who's to say many NBA players' pensions or 401ks are not being affected based on what they're invested in, if you will. We'll just leave that there and everybody can just check for themselves. It's every man for his or herself right now. And I want to just shout out and say thank you so much for all of the kindness, love, and support that's gone on. I have no idea what this movement of women is talking about, because as a woman, let me say this, men, thank you so much for sharing my videos, my analytics, supporting me. I am daily encouraged by all of you. And I find silly semantics of bodily autonomy to be at the focal point of conversation. And I find it quite distracting from a market plummeting as I speak. For example, Bitcoin has fallen below 35K, and I have to just be thinking in my head, tech stocks must be just doing this even though the market's not open Monday through Friday, but might give us good indicator, except I have always told people, please don't trade leverage. Please never trade more than you can afford to lose. And we're seeing liquidations of Bitcoin, just people partying like it's 1929 and the lights are coming on, and everyone that looked like a 10 in the nightclub essentially, and we're just going to compare those people to stocks, are now looking like fives or twos. Commodities market though, yay. I want to make sure I get this properly. I believe the S&P is down 13% the year, and the NASDAQ, I want to say 23% since November of 2021, which brings me to a very funny story. And my partner, if I hooked up to a polygraph, would have to attest this to be true. I was so distressed about, well, let me just say this. The Federal Reserve has great timing. They always seem to time around holidays, or March Madness was a really good one, a good distraction, Easter holidays, whatever day this is on a Sunday in America, seem to really be strategic about timing. And I don't know if it's America just celebrates something all year, whether it be the NFL draft and rate hikes, but right now I'm kind of noticing this leak about bodily autonomy is preceding a market collapse of 1,000 points on Friday, and Bitcoin collapsing. And I just have to ask, what are you all's thoughts? Drop it in the C section below. Do you all believe that semantics and nuanced rhetoric in relation to bodily autonomy is taking precedent over a market crash happening before our very fucking own eyes? We will see a housing crisis, Big Short 2.0 coming soon to America. Maybe my birthday weekend. That would be an irony and a hell of a gift. Mortgage-backed securities. What are we going to do when the Fed begins to shrink its balance sheet? And I do want to ask, would the banks be able to make some sort of bartering agreement where the Fed could purchase corporate debt and exchange? They buy the mortgage-backed securities and then fill their investment banks with assets. So it would up the valuation of the actual entity in case the stock were to plummet. I have so many questions because even with corporate buybacks since 2017, we've seen how the bank stocks has performed. And you guys who work for the banks know that I have nothing but love. And for everyone out there crushing it, for everyone's hedge fund that's doing well, congratulations. I could not be more excited for you all, proud for you all for timing the market right. And habak shitum te amo bisu besu bachi. I wanted to get on here, jump, let everyone know I was alive. And thank you all for checking on my health and wealth and well-being. And drop it in the C section below. Let me know if you think the news is extraordinarily particular with what topic it is pursuing at the moment over the reality of an economic collapse along with a currency crisis. We still have five identifying as one: the dollar, the pound, the yuan, the yen, and the euro. So yikes, central bank digital currencies are going to be the next big thing. And remember, China's central bank digital currency is being used to test for taxes now. Alex out.